Burris Arms here to bring you part 3 of the both Rock River Arms AR15 and the Remington 870 builds. What we're going to be doing today is doing the sandblasting of the parts. I'm going to start by doing sandblasting and the getting ready to prep the parts for the FDE color. And then after that, after I paint them FDE, then I'm going to go ahead and start working on the SOCOM black parts that I'm going to be doing. What I've decided to do for the FDE, I'm going to paint the receiver on the Remington 870, the FDE color, with maintaining the barrel and the magazine tube as the SOCOM black. I'm also doing the handguard of the AR, since I'm going to do the barrel in SOCOM black. I'm going to do the handguards, the free-floating handguards and FDE. And I'm just going to redo and refinish, kind of touch up the same parts. The only difference is all of the extended pieces on there are going to be the SOCOM blacks. And I'm also going to do the flash hider in FDE. That's pretty much all I'm going to do. And then everything else I'm going to do in the SOCOM black. So first things first, I've already turned on the compressor and got that started. And I'm going to go ahead and load the parts into the sandblaster and put them in there, lock it up, and then got to run the air into, there's a gun inside of here. It's a sandblasting gun that works from compressed air. And what you're using, I'll go ahead and show that off real quick. What you're using right here is aluminum oxide, 70 grit, and you're going to be blasting that at around 80 psi, and it looks to be pretty close to it. And you just want to make sure and sandblast all the parts to make sure that they're well done. What I'm going to be doing now, I'll fast forward through it so you guys don't have to watch the whole thing. But I'm going to go ahead and start sandblasting them, and I'll show you what they look like after. Alright, and just to give you guys an example, here's pretty much a sandblasted piece for the receiver for the Remington 870. I'll touch it up a little bit more, but that way you can see the difference on how it looks compared to how the bluing was like on the magazine tube. And then also, here was the FDE covered AR part, lower receiver, that now looks pretty good sandblasted. Of course, you got to touch it up after you blow it off with an air hose. Next thing that you're going to do is you're going to get some acetone and you're going to wipe it all down. You're going to get rid of any oils or any debris that's left over from the aluminum oxide. So I will, next time I talk to you, I'll be done with the parts, and then I'll be showing you how to apply the moly resin onto the parts, and then how to bake them in the oven. Alright, Burris Arms here. We just finished sandblasting the parts. Now what you're going to do, you're going to put on fresh, clean gloves. At this point, until you're done baking the firearm, you do not want to handle any of the parts with your bare hands. The oils will cause the finish not to hold. And so as soon as you get fresh, clean gloves on, then just take a rag, make sure it's clean, but apart from that, it's not that big of a deal. You don't want to use too much of a rag that it'll leave behind a lot of particles or whatnot. But what you're going to do, you're going to go ahead and put some acetone on it, and you're going to take the part and scrub it down. Make sure you get every little piece that you can that's going to be on that part. And what's good about acetone is it strips away any impurities on it while cleaning it, and then it dries super fast. So you know when you apply the moly resin that there's no type of moisture on there at all. Alright, we've pretty much applied all of the acetone on the parts that we're going to be doing on FDE. Just to let you guys know, the reason why this still looks so dark, and this piece does, this is for the foreign part on the Remington shotgun. I'm only going to be painting the part that can be seen from the shotgun itself. This will all be covered up by the foreign grip from Magpul. The free float, I started to sandblast it, as you can see, like parts here and here. But I realized that the way that this is finished, it's a rough finish anyway. So the moly resin will set just fine on top of it. So there's no need to sit there and spend an hour and a half trying to sandblast a brand new free floating rail. So that's why I went ahead and did that. But anyway, everything's prepped and ready to start to be moly resined. All I want to do one more time is just with an air hose, just blow it off one more time to get any type of lint or anything that came off of the clean rag when I first applied it. So other than that, we'll be ready to go, and I'll start the tape when I start doing the moly resin. Thanks. Alright, Burris Arms here. We are going to start moly resin in the parts. First thing you want to do is go ahead and heat up your parts that you're going to be painting. They don't have to be too hot. They just have to be around 100 degrees. And if any of you have a heat gun, you'll know that these parts get pretty hot very quickly. So we'll just do this real quick around here. Alright, now remember on the top part, I'm going to be adding, for the receiver, I'm adding the moly resin. Alright, well that's the first layer. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and try to at least dry this portion of it. So I'm going to stick it in the tray to put in the oven. It won't be sticky and therefore foul up. Alright, I'm going to leave that while it dries. I'm going to go ahead and try to apply this portion of it. Burris Arms here. Just about to finish up the last coatings on the moly resin for the parts, and then like I said earlier, I'm about to throw it into the oven. Now remember, once you put this in the oven and it cures, you can always go back and try to fix any imperfections that you see. Alright, we baked the parts in the oven, let it sit overnight. I went ahead and shut it off. They say that you're supposed to have it in here for an hour at 300 degrees at least, so I tend to do around 325 for about an hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half. And here's the way the parts turned out. Overall, they look fairly good. So, with that said, yep, they look fairly good. Alright. So now I need to move on to doing the blacks.